Henry VIII, Part 1b, The Break with Rome. Faith, desire, and politics, these three forces collided in Henry VIII's reign. By the mid-1520s, Henry's marriage to Catherine of Aragon was unraveling. After 2 decades together, she had given him only one surviving child, Mary. Without a male heir, Henry feared his dynasty would collapse into civil war, just as England had endured in the Wars of the Roses a generation earlier. Convinced his marriage to Catherine was cursed, Henry turned to the Pope for an annulment. He argued that marrying his brother's widow was against God's law, even though a papal dispensation had allowed it years earlier. Henry believed that if the Pope released him, he could remarry and secure the son he so desperately wanted. But the Pope refused. Catherine, deeply devoted to her role as queen, refused to step aside quietly. She stood firm in her dignity, declaring her marriage valid in the eyes of God. And behind the scenes, her nephew, Charles V, the powerful Holy Roman Emperor, put enormous pressure on the Pope to deny Henry's request. Henry's frustration boiled over. If the Pope would not grant his annulment, Henry would take matters into his own hands. With the help of advisors like Thomas Cromwell and Thomas Cranmer, Henry began reshaping the legal and religious order of England. Parliament declared that the English crown, not the Pope, held authority over the Church within its borders. In 1534, the Act of Supremacy made Henry the supreme head of the Church of England. It was a bold move that shook Europe. For centuries, the Pope had been the unquestioned spiritual authority. Now the King of England had broken away, placing himself above Rome. And yet, at the heart of this seismic shift was not just theology or politics, but a king's desperate desire for a son. Into this storm stepped Anne Boleyn, a woman whose wit, charm, and reformist leanings would not only win Henry's heart, but ignite a religious revolution.